Hello and welcome to eBay with Chris, where I'm on a journey to build an eBay business from $0 to $3,000 monthly profit in just 12 months. In today's video, I'm going to answer a question about how to print bulk shipping labels. We're also going to look at my eBay reports for the week of November 6th through November 12th. Plus, I have 15 items that I'm going to show you all the details about my costs, my profit, all the eBay expenses, and you can make a decision for yourself whether these are items to be on the lookout for or not. So in a recent video where I was showing you how I print labels and pull orders out of my storage system, I received a comment or a question in the comments about how to print multiple labels. And you know, that's a good question, actually. I kind of take that for granted because I know how to do it now. But honestly, when I was first learning eBay, I didn't know how to do that. And for a while, for a while, I didn't have multiple orders. So I was just printing one order at a time. But as I grew and got multiple orders in a day, then I, had to figure out how to print multiple orders. So actually, there was someone in one of my comments in one of my early videos that said I should learn how to print bulk shipping labels. And so after that, I went out and I learned how to do that. I did some research and I figured out how to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and show you here how I do it. So let's go. The first thing that you need to do is go to this page, which is Manage Orders Awaiting Shipment. So you can see in this page I have 9 orders that are waiting to ship out. And so you can get to this page in a number of ways from your eBay store or your eBay page. But this is what you're looking for. You basically want to find the page that is where you're going to ship all your items. After you get to this page, you're going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit and click on the upper button, which highlights all of your items that are waiting to be shipped out. Once you have all of the items highlighted, you're going to go up to the shipping button here, click on that, and you're going to click on Purchase Shipping Label. That will take you to this page right here, which is where you can review all of your purchases. You can go ahead and I recommend you go down and look at every single item and make sure that you have the proper shipping method for every single item. And all you have to do is you just click on the shipping method for each one of those items, and you can get more details, different pricing. Here's an example right here. Once I click on that, I have the different options like Ground Advantage, Priority Mail Flat Rate, and I can choose the least expensive one. Typically, I will just stick with Ground Advantage for all the items that I ship out, unless it's some heavy pants or something like that that I know I can shove into a Priority Mail Flat Rate envelope. Then I'll do that, especially when the shipping costs, more than $7.50 or $7.60. I'm going to go ahead and put that item into a Priority Mail Flat Rate envelope if I know it will fit. For example, pants will definitely fit, but a bulky coat will not fit, and so that will have to go Ground Advantage. After you've reviewed all of your shipping methods for every single item and you're happy with all of them, in my case I have Ground Advantage for every single one of the items on this page right here. And then I'll go ahead and click Review Purchase, which is this button here. That will take you to this screen right here where it shows you the cost for every single item with a total cost. And this is the point where you're going to say, yes, I approve. This is also the place where you can change your paper size. You can see right here it says 4x6. You can click Change Paper Size, and it will give you options like you can change it to an 8.5 by 11. In the past, I only had a regular printer, a regular paper printer. So I would print on label sheets that had like 2 labels per sheet, and I would print on that, and that was my selection. And then once I bought a new 4x6 label printer, it took me forever, actually, probably a week to actually find the spot right here where you can change it under bulk shipping. I knew where to find it under the individual shipping labels, like if I was doing one at a time, but it took me a long time to figure out where to find it under the bulk shipping process. So anyways, it's right here. So there you go. Secret right there. Hot tip right there. Okay, then go ahead and click Confirm and Pay. We'll take you to this page right here where it says Buy Labels in Bulk, and you just have to print it out. It'll say Print Labels, and it'll take you through that printing process. So there you go. That's how you print labels in bulk, shipping labels in bulk. Hope it helps. By the way, if you're interested in the type of printer that I use, I have a Jaden's thermal printer that I got off Amazon. Really cheap. It's like less than $100. And you can go ahead and check out my link below if you want to check out that printer. But so far I've had it for about 2-3 months and it's working out really great. I love it. So much better than printing on my normal paper printer, kind of the office printer that I have. So super happy with it. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into some items that sold. Okay, we're going to start with a few flannel items. So this week I sold, I think it was 3 flannel shirts. But here's one of them right here. It's the brand Five Brothers flannel shirt. It's kind of a half zip pullover. It's actually not a full button down type shirt. I had this in my store for 8.5 months, so I definitely would not recommend this brand. It's definitely not a bolo item. However, the profit is really good, so I'm okay waiting that long. You know, just put it in a box and see when someone buys it, right? So I had it listed for $34. The buyer offered $27, which I accepted. The buyer was all in for $38.49. After fees, eBay paid me $23.75 for a profit of $21. So it took a while, but great profit. Super happy. Another flannel shirt by the brand Wrangler. Pretty nice. I like the color on it, nice and thick and green. This I was asking $25 for it. It looks like they accepted a 10% offer that I sent out, so they paid $22.50. They were all in for $30.50. After fees, eBay paid me $20.36 for a profit of $17. Hey, and I'm also skipping over a lot of the details. If you want to check out, okay, how much did the buyer pay for shipping? How much did I pay for shipping and transaction fees and all that? All the details are here on the slide. Check it out. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to see all those details, okay? Another flannel shirt. It's actually more of a shacket or a jacket. It's super thick. It's by the brand Hurley. It's a men's medium size. I was asking $29. They offered $25. And with shipping, because it was super heavy, they paid $17 in shipping. So they were all in for $45.64. After fees, eBay paid me $25.28 for a profit of $22. And this was in my store for 7 months. So I would pick up shackets. If they're in good condition, any brand shackets will sell. A shacket is basically a combination between a jacket and a thick flannel shirt. So always a good item to pick up, pretty popular, especially in the fall and the winter. So at least that's my opinion. Okay, moving on from the flannel shirts, we have a cashmere sweater by the brand Adriana Vitadini. I don't know. I figured with the Italian name and the cashmere, this thing was going to be bank. Well, I figured out wrong. So I was asking $19 for this. Someone offered me $15.99, which I accepted. They were all in for $23.23. After fees, eBay paid me $14.23, and I got a profit of just $11. And it was in my store for 8 months. So kind of bummed about that. Like I said, I thought, you know, with the fancy name and the cashmere, it would be more money and sell faster. Well, it didn't. That's okay. Cashmere, though, is always a pretty good item to pick up. It will eventually sell, and probably for good money most of the time. So I will do your research, but I would always at least do some research when I pick up a cashmere item. This brand of jeans I haven't really seen too often. It's Aria, I think is how you pronounce it. It's the type of jeans that has the really like bedazzled butt, the bedazzled rear pockets, embroidery and all that, kind of like some of the other brands that you see out there that are pretty popular right now. This is also a boot cut, low rise, so it hits a lot of keywords. I was asking $27 for it. The buyer offered $23, which I accepted. So with shipping, they were all in for $41.50. After fees, eBay paid me $24.57 for a profit of $21. Really good profit. It did take 6 months for this item to sell, but I would pick up this item again just because the profit margin is really good. Let's jump into my eBay reports for the week. Here's my eBay report for the week of November 6th through November 12th. As you can see, I sold 25 items, which is pretty good. But look at the total sales. What? What happened here? $1,712.94. Wow. Well, there's a story here. So let me share that in a second. We'll go ahead and look at some of the other numbers, and then I'll tell you why that number is so big. The selling cost, $262.38. Look at that, only 15.3% of my total sales. What happened there? And then my net sales, $1,417. Really? And then my average sales price, $68.52. That is ridiculous. Man, I rarely see higher than like $36. And that's really good. Typically I'm in the mid to, high 20s to mid 30s, I guess. So let me show you what happened. This is what happened. I sold a bike for $922 plus shipping. Check it out. $922, shipping was $128. The buyer was all in for $1,000.50. So this threw off all my numbers. This is not something that I bought to resell or flip. This is actually a bike that my girlfriend owned, and she's had it for several years and decided she wanted to get rid of it. And I was like, okay, I'll sell it. And that's why I put the profit of $0 on there, because I don't get to keep any of the money. I have to give it to her. It's rough. And what's interesting is this item actually sold about a month ago. I had it for sale for probably 4 or 5 months. It sold, and then after like 2 or 3 days after the buyer got it, he returned it. So but then I got it back, relisted. I checked it out, made sure everything was in working condition, relisted it. 1 day later it sold for $922. I accepted an offer for $922. And yeah, but that messed up all of my numbers. And let me show you my eBay report with all these numbers corrected, where I actually take this bike sale out of my total numbers. And so we're just looking at my clothing numbers, okay? As you can see, this is the same report. All I did is I put the new numbers in red next to those same areas. So I sold 24 clothing items. My total sales of clothing items alone was $662.56. There we go. That makes more sense, right? My total selling cost was $225.61. So the selling cost was actually 34% of my total sales. So that's right in line with where I typically am, in the low 30s. Selling cost, of course, includes my final value fees, ad fees, and shipping costs. And we're going to go ahead and look at those details in the next slide. But here, let's look at what eBay paid me. They paid me $436.95 for the clothing items alone. Really good payout. So super happy with that. That's just 1 week of payout. Also, what was my average sales price per item? $27.61. A little lower than I like to see. I'd like to see over $28, because I know if I have over $28, I'm going to have an average profit per item of at least $10 per item. At a $27.61, I'm not sure what my profit per item will be. Probably $11. We're going to go ahead and calculate that towards the end of the video, and you can see what my average profit per item was for this week. Okay, let's check out my sales chart. Okay, here's my sales chart, and as you can see, it's greatly influenced by the sale of the bike on let's see, on Wednesday. My sales that day were really good on Wednesday. The rest of the time it was in that probably $150 to $50 range on the days, and I didn't have any sales on Friday that week. So, but overall, pretty good week. And of course, the bicycle was a great sale, and I'm super happy that happened. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the fees for the week. Okay, so here's the eBay selling costs. And as you can see, my total selling cost was $262.38. Now this is impacted by a couple things here. Of course, my final value fees, you can see, were $221.23. A big chunk of that was for the bike, and I'll go ahead and show you those numbers here in a second. Ad fees were $362. And then there's a transaction fee credit of $161.24. That is actually the transaction fee credit for when the bike was sold and returned previously. So about 3 weeks ago in my video, I shared how my selling costs were really high, and what that was is because they had not returned the credit for the transaction fees for selling this bike or having the bike returned yet. And that took place about 3 weeks later after the bike arrived at my place, and eBay went ahead and credited that transaction, and it happened to show up the exact same week that the bike sold. So we'll go ahead and take that number out as well when we do the updated transaction fees for the clothing items alone. And you can see my shipping labels for the week, $198.77. Also, a big chunk of that was the bike itself. Let's go ahead and look at the bike one more time, and I can show you those fees there, and then we'll show you this slide again with those fees removed. Okay, here you can see for the bike, I got a transaction fee of $130.02. So we'll go ahead and subtract that out of the clothing transaction fees. And I also had a shipping label cost me $67.99, and we'll subtract that out of the shipping label costs. So let's see what the new numbers look like. Okay, once again, I did it in red. So you can see my new overall selling cost, $225.61. And like I said, that's 34% of my total sales, which is right in line of my total clothing sales. I got to be clear on that. My final value fees were reduced. I took out the $130 for the bike final value fees, and I got $91.31 of final value fees. That's right about 13% of my total sales. I went ahead and zeroed out the transaction fee credit because that again was also for the bike. And I removed the shipping cost for the bike, so my total shipping labels cost me $130.78. So that's where the total comes from for my total selling costs, $225.61. All right, let's go ahead and dive into 5 more items that sold. It's funny, I sold a bunch of base layer items, base layer shirts. So let's go ahead and look at these items. I find that these types of items are pretty good. They sell pretty well, and the money is okay. It's not a lot. It depends on the brand, of course. But there's something that I always pick up because I don't think other people are really selling these items. But here we have an REI co-op shirt. It's a men's large. It's a pullover base layer. I use keywords Gorp Core and hiking. I was asking 19 bucks. They offered 16, which I accepted. So they were all in for $24.41. And after fees, eBay paid me $13.34. I got a profit of $10, and it just took 1 month to sell. We have a woman's base layer. This is a size medium. This is like a half zip sweatshirt, really lightweight. I use the term Gorp or Gorp Core. I was asking 22. The buyer offered 18, which I accepted. They were all in for $24.59. After fees, eBay paid me $15.72 for a profit of 13 bucks, and this sold in 1 day. Here we have a Patagonia base layer shirt. This is a women's medium. It's a Henley shirt. I use keywords base layer, Gorp Core, hiking. I was asking 19. They offered 15. So they were all in for $21.19. After fees, eBay paid me $13.05 for a profit of 10 bucks. And it just took 3 weeks to sell. Patagonia, obviously a great brand. Here we have a base layer shirt by the brand Brooks. Brooks is a running brand. They sell a lot of running shoes, street running, trail running, plus clothing items as well. So I'm kind of familiar with these items. I do like their shoes a lot. But this is just a basic base layer. They call it a dry layer technology. And I was asking 14 bucks for it. And they accepted a 10% discount offer that I sent out. So they paid $12.60. They were all in for $18.60. After fees, eBay paid me $10.74 for a profit of 8 bucks, and it just took 3 weeks to sell. So not a big profit item, but it does flip pretty quickly, and they're easy to take pictures of. So yeah, I'll pick up these items again. If I can, I'll try to find lots of 2 or 3 of the same size, and then sell them that way. I prefer to do it that way than sell them individually. We have another Brooks item right here. This is a hoodie. It's a women's size XL. They call it the Equilibrium. It's a lightweight, and it also has reflectors on it. So it'd be something that you would wear over a shirt, maybe running when it's a little dark. I was asking $24 for this. They offered 18, which I accepted. So they were all in for $25.60. After fees, eBay paid me $15.86 for a profit of $13, and it took 3 months for this item to sell. Okay, let's talk about some of my business metrics. Here we go. Okay, so one of my goals is to grow my store every single week. This week I started with 1,125 items in my store, and I ended the week with 1,137 items. So my store grew by a whopping 12 items. I also sold 25 clothing items, of course, so I listed a total of 37. It's okay. I'm still growing, I guess. Also, another metric that I look at for my store health is my sell-through rate, my store sell-through rate. And so what that means is I want to have a 0.5% sell-through rate. So that would mean I sell 5 items per day if I have 1,000 items in my store. Well, I have a little over 1,000 right now, but you can do the math just by dividing the number of items that sold by the time period. In my case, I'm going to use 7 days, and divide that again by the total items in my store. So I had sold 25, divide that by 7 days, and divide that again by 1,125 items in my store. I got a 0.32% sell-through rate. That means I sold an average of 3.2 items per day. I want to get that up to where I'm selling an average of 5 or more items per day. I want to continue to grow my store to where I have up to 2,000, 3,000 items in my store, and I'm selling 10 to 15 items per day. That's actually where I want to be at, but I still have a long ways to go. And finally, let's go ahead and look at my profit for the week. Just clothing items, okay? Because like I said, I got 0 profit off that bike. That's going to my girlfriend. So my cost of goods is $3 per item. It's actually a little bit less than that. My average buy cost per item is $1.50. Plus I have other expenses that I put in my cost of goods, such as laundry, boxes, storage boxes, right? Storage poly bags, shipping poly mailers, ink, mailing labels, all that kind of stuff. I don't use ink anymore, actually. I just have my printer, my thermal printer. But my cost of goods, I assume a $3 average. So I sold 25 items. So my total cost of goods this week was $75. Subtract that from my net sales, or what eBay paid me. They paid me for my clothing items $436.95. Subtract 75. So my total taxable profit for the week, $364.95. And then if you divide that by the 24 items that sold, that's an average profit per item of $15.21. That's a lot higher than I expected. I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with anything above $15 average per item. So yeah, let's keep it going. Well, I had to pause and put a little bit more wood in the fire. It's burning good now. But let's go ahead and look at some more items I sold this week. Here we have a gi. I believe that's what it's called. It's a gi. It's for jiu-jitsu or other martial arts. This is a kid size M1, and I've sold gis before, just a couple of them that I found at the bins, and they have a pretty good profit. So again, I was asking $39 for this item, and the buyer paid my full asking price plus shipping, so they were all in for an even $50. And after eBay fees, eBay paid me $33.17 for a profit of $30. It did take 6 months, but a great item, definitely worth holding on to for a few months to get this kind of profit. Here we have a North Face shirt. It's really a basic t-shirt, women's size medium, but it is merino wool or a merino wool blend, which is nice, and it does have some graphics on it. So it's a little bit more valuable than your just basic North Face t-shirt. So I was asking $19 for it, and the buyer paid my full price. So they were all in for $25.69. And after fees, eBay paid me $16.35 for a profit of $13, and it just took 3 weeks to sell. So a great item. Normally for North Face basic t-shirts, I would want to lot them up into 2 or 3 shirts in a lot. But when it comes to some merino wool and some of these graphics, I went ahead and just sold it as a single piece. Here I have a half zip Polartec sweatshirt. It's a men's size small. It's by the brand Mountain Equipment Co-op, which is, I guess, a similar item to REI Co-op. This is based out of Canada, and I think now it's defunct. So this might even be a vintage item, but I wasn't sure, so I wasn't comfortable putting that in the title. It did have a hole, I put in the condition notes, a hole on the left back side and some loose stitching on the back neck. But these are good items to pick up. This Mountain Equipment Co-op, I would keep an eye out for them. If you do see them, do your research, but buy them. At least I do. I was asking $19. They paid the full asking price plus shipping. So they were all in for $26.71. After fees, eBay paid me $16.80 for a profit of $14, and it just took 1 week to sell. Mountain Equipment Co-op. Adidas track jacket was really a cool find. I love the colors on it. It's kind of that green and purple, and it does have a floral design into the green material there, which is kind of cool. I was asking $24. It looks like the buyer accepted a 10% offer that I sent out, so they paid $21.60. They were all in for $28.55. And after fees, eBay paid me $18.48 for a profit of 15 bucks, and it just took 3 weeks to sell. LL Bean jacket. It seems like almost every week I sell an LL Bean item. So I don't know, I'm on an LL Bean kick, I guess. But this is a puffer jacket. It's a women's size extra small. It's not down. It's Primaloft. Stowable is another keyword I use. This is actually one of those jackets where you can stuff it into one of its pockets and then zip it closed. So you basically have this little ball of a jacket that's easy to carry around, throw in your backpack, and kind of a cool item. So I was asking $24 for this, and the buyer accepted a 10% discount offer that I sent out, so they were all in for $21.60 plus shipping and handling, so they were actually all in for $29.82. And after fees, eBay paid me $18.61 for a profit of 15 bucks, and it just took 1 week to sell. So LL Bean jackets are really good. I'm buying a lot more LL Bean items. I'm on the West Coast. I don't think they have a really strong following out here, but I think they have a pretty strong following on the East Coast. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm buying a lot more LL Bean items than they're selling. So pretty happy with that. Thanks a lot for watching eBay with Chris. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love to answer your questions. I'm starting to answer your questions in video, so send me some ideas. I want to be able to help out as best I can. Of course, I don't know everything about eBay. I'm a newbie, but if I do know something, I'd be more than happy to pass on that information. So if you're interested in following me on my journey, go ahead and click on the subscribe button right here. And if you want to watch more eBay with Chris, check out this video right here. Thanks a lot. Take care.